Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the weekend preview. We've got the top team. George Gorman, Andy Newton, and Peter Michael are here with me again. Hold up, wait a minute. I can't help but notice something. First of all, it's great to have Andy back, but Andy, do you notice something? Something's not quite right. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, there's something missing from the two boys. I can't help but notice, Andy, they're not wearing leather jackets. You have welshed on a bet. You lost. We won. Where's the leather jackets, Gorman and Michael? This is disgraceful.
Yeah, we haven't purchased them yet. There was talk we might switch to racing silks instead of A, because it's funny, and B, because it's way too hot for leather jackets here at the minute.
Yeah, it is.
Agreed.
It is baking hot. We're all roasting. I'm not complaining about it, by the way. I absolutely hate it when the only thing it does in Ireland is rain. And so when you're in a shop or you're in a pub and you're something, oh, it's too hot. Shut up. It's good that we have this sunshine. Let's try and make the most of it. It would have been great, though, to see these two boys sweating their balls off in leather jackets on the weekend preview. We expect silks, leather jackets next week. You can have your choice of either of the two, but okay, Andy and I won. That's a bet. And,
we'll do it.
There'll be caps as well.
Caps, everything, the whole shebang.
Goggles?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to make you wear caps, goggles, but hey, if you boys want to go and do that, good luck to you.
I'm sure George has his bedroom somewhere around there.
What George gets up to in his bedroom is his business and nobody else's, and not for consumption on the podcast. What is for consumption on the podcast, though, is
that's
winners.
A big no comment.
Winners. Andy Newton nearly fallen off the chair with those comments. Okay, what has been happening is winners galore, and if you've been following those winners, I hope you like this episode. I hope you've been doing well. I hope you followed us in with Salvatelli, who Peter Michael also tipped up on his excellent service, which you can get on X at Peter Michael Racing for more information. But it was also heavily talked up by Adam Mills and myself, and been in good form. Hopefully we'll keep that going as we preview the best of the weekend's racing. Ascot for the Cornish Orchards Summer Mile Stakes, the Group 2. Never So Brave stepping up to group class company for only the second time. He ran in the Jersey Stakes when he was trained by Sir Michael Stout. He goes back into group racing for the first time for Andrew Balding, and he's just a massively improved horse for him. George Gorman, I think he's going to win this. That was a career best effort. It's one of the best weight carrying performances in handicap we've seen in recent years, and I expect he will improve on the back of a career best effort. His third start for Andrew Balding, his first start for him over a mile. They could have gone for the Bunbury Cup under a £6 penalty. He is now up to a mark of 115 from 105, but they would have got in on a £6 penalty for the Bunbury Cup, and yet they come to this race instead. That's a big note of confidence for More Thunder, obviously, but I think this horse will win. Are you in agreement, George?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think probably the best bit of handicap format Ascot this year was this horse, and £10 seems pretty lenient. Like honestly, given he was running off 105 and he ran to a Racing Post rating of 118 in winning that. Like, it was a huge performance, and obviously that Racing Post rating of 118 looks very good in the context of this. Like, he's joint top on weights, joint top on official ratings here. Value for that rating in and of itself. He looked like he'd get a mile the last day. Like, No Nay Never isn't known for milers, but he did produce Alcohol Free, who won the Sussex Stakes. Yeah. His damn size Oasis Dream, who, although he's more of a sprinter himself, produced loads of top quality milers and middle distance horses like Native Trail, Midday. I think this is going to be very hard to stop, and at his current price, I think he's a very, very good bet.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think he's a cracking price here. The fact that they're going for a group race and not a handicap, Andy, that they're just going to go straight into group company, I think says an awful lot. And look, Sir Michael Stout was a legend of a trainer, an absolute hero of the game. But for whatever reason last season, those horses weren't firing. A lot of them have improved significantly for the switch in stables. And Andrew Balding, at the time of recording, bear in mind that this is Thursday, so he may very well have added more to it, but he's had 18 winners in the last 2 weeks. 18 winners for a stable of his size at this time of year on the flat. I do not want to be sitting there watching racing TV coverage and seeing yet another Sky Sports coverage. Apologies, it's Ascot. Watching Sky Sports coverage of this race and seeing another Andrew Balding horse and not being on board, especially when it's an Andrew Balding horse that fits the system. X'd out with a new trainer. he wins, Andy, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so, mate. I mean, and Balding's actually got a fairly good record. He's won it a couple of times, 2019 and 20 with that Beat the Bank. I mean, he doubled up, and as you say, he's absolutely flying at the moment. And that win at Ascot in the Buckingham was easily impressive. It's up to a mile here, and is the improvement over? Probably not, really. I mean, I thought it'd be a little bit shorter. It's 7-2, 3-1, but we have got two other Royal Ascot winners in there with Hatim and My Cloud. A lot of people will be drawn to My Cloud. That travelled so well, didn't it? But the form has taken a bit of a knock, isn't it? That Greek Order was fourth, I think, in that, and that sort of bombed out in that classic race that you put up the winner in last week at Sandown. Only came fourth, I think, or third in there at Greek Order at Sandown. So some sort of holes to pick in that form. And Hatim, probably some question marks over the trip. I think the last 4 times it's run over a mile, it's third, second, fifth, and fourth. So, and we have got last year's winner in the race as well, Boudoir, which bombed out in the Queen Anne, but that run was probably too bad to be true. I mean, it was 16-1 or something that day, probably wouldn't have won, but wouldn't be surprised that bounced back. But look, Never So Brave. Balding's in flying form. The time was good at Ascot as well. So I'm with you, mate. Never So Brave here.
Oh, surely this is the first leg of the Lucky 63. Peter Michael.
Yeah, I couldn't put you guys off him. For me, it's a no-bet race. Never So Brave and My Cloud were 2 potential group horses and handicaps at Ascot, and they were both short priced and both fancied, and both were incredibly impressive. Obviously, My Cloud will one off 95, whereas Never So Brave off 105. Look, Kudwa and Hatim definitely bring the best form into the race. I mean, there's no question about that. They have the proven group form in the book. I don't see any value in this market in any of the top 4, but I think one of the top 4 will win it. I won't be betting on it, so I hope you guys get the winner with Never So Brave.
Did the feature for Sky Sports Racing yesterday for QuinnBet, and the 2 horses we highlighted were a potential gamble double for the Dylan Cunningham yard, and he pulled it off. His horses are in fantastic form. Be great to see Prague go and win. He's a good friend of the show, Dylan. We're big fans of him. Kieran Schumacher back on board. Second run of the season, he can step forward, but maybe this ground is going to be a little bit lively for him. I want to be with Never So Brave. We all want to be with them. So we are. That's the first leg. We'll switch to York before we get to Newmarket. This is the 5 furlong John Smith City Wallace Stakes. It's a listed race. JM Jungle has run 10 times at York, placed 6, won once. His runner-up finish to American Affair reads really well in the context of this race, even if I could use my mouth words correctly, as does his runner-up finish last time out against Squealer when he was giving that horse weight. This is his first ever go at listed class, and we know that the sprinters are absolutely rubbish, George. So there's no difference between an elite level handicapper and the listed group class performer, and I think he is going to go very, very close again here. Deserves his chance. He's pretty much play spot banker material. What do you think of the race?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too different from you on that. Just on ratings, he still does have a little bit to find, but he's got it to find with horses that just bang out of form. Like Washington Heights has let us down on the podcast a couple of times this year. Grand Gray's, how he's holding on to a mark of 106, I'm not sure. It's probably a no-bet race for me, but the one upset me most if it won, and therefore the one I should probably have £2.50 on is Star of Memas. Like, he tops them on weight-adjusted ratings. He's obviously very well thought of because Richard Hughes doesn't ask Ryan to ride one unless it's very good, and he's ridden it the past 3 times. But he is tricky to win with. I don't know if they need to hold on to him a bit longer or what. And changing from Ryan to Holly, with all respect to Holly Doyle, is a downgrade in terms of jockeys. The one thing that might just steer me into having a small bet on him is he's stepping into open age company where you're like, well, surely that's a disadvantage taking on older horses now. But it means he gets the 3-year-old allowance here, and it, like I say, it puts him top on weight adjusted ratings. So I might take a small interest on Star of Memas, although he really hurt me the last day. I really thought he should have been winning the last day. But obviously, York's a very different track to Sandown. If he's around this sort of price, I'll have a small interest in Star of Memas, purely because I'd kick myself if he won and I wasn't on him.
Yeah, the Town and Country's a nice horse, to be fair. So I don't really mind that defeat too much, for all that she was third. The big angle, though, is the one you mentioned, the fact that she'll be getting the sex allowance and the weight for age allowance as well. That's going to be a massive advantage, hopefully, which will play out in the July Cup, which will come a little bit later on the show. Andy Newton, your thoughts?
Yeah, the betting market here is quite similar to that last race we just talked about. You've got sort of 4 or so at the top of it, or maybe 5 if you count that Apollo 1, and the rest, there's a bit of a gap, isn't there? You probably rule them out. And look, Apollo 1 is 7-1, but look, all its wins have been over 6 and 7 furlongs, so the drop it back to 5 would be a slight issue. Run twice at York, I think, and bombed out both times. JM Jungle, a horse we love on the podcast, consistent as ever, and sure to be thereabouts again, but just has it to prove probably at this level. And it's been a busy boy this season. This is its 6th run, I think, maybe. So he's been taking its racing well, and another sort of, as we said before, play spot banker. Grand Grey can't have that. I don't think it's won in its last 9. Not even quite sure why. As George said, it's still rated 106 or short is in the betting. So look, I think that Washington Heights. I know I'm going to give it another go. One more chance here.
No,
I know
Andy.
I'm going to give it one more. I don't think it ran that bad. You got to remember that was a Group 1 last time. It was only beaten 2 1/4 lengths. Fair, all right. Time before that in Haydock in the Temple Stakes, only a length, beating their Group 2. Last time it dropped down to a listed company. All right, look, it was some absolute pants race in Sweden or somewhere like that, I think it was. It won by about 5 lengths. So I'm just going to bank on... Look, Kevin Ryan's form is a bit iffy at the moment as well, but I'm just banking on the dropping class and, Washington Heights. He owes us, right? And I'm going to side with that, I think, here.
9% strike rate for Kevin Ryan, 32 runners, 3 winners in the last 2 weeks. Just enough to just have a little bit of a raised eyebrow about. The good folks at Proform have done their Saturday racing for us, which is fantastic. You got to pay for this, and you got to pay a lot for it, but it's well worth it. It's the best ratings agency in the business, best form, best guides. It's actually a website that holds up as well, Peter Michael. The data doesn't erase on you after hours of work.
Still waiting for a reply from the Racing Post. Cheers, lads.
And I will say this again, the Racing Post is the website I use probably 3rd most every single day. Google, X, Racing Post, but that's not great. The reason I mentioned Proform Racing, though, is because we love them. They're excellent. The 2nd highest speed figure in this race, JM Jungle. The highest is Washington Heights, by the way. The highest rated horse, JM Jungle. Come on, JM Jungle, Peter Michael.
Again, lads, I'm sorry, it's not a race I'll be betting on, but I agree with Andy. I think Washington Heights is the most likely winner, but I don't see any value in this race. It's a good race. It's an interesting race to watch. Whether James Jungle can win, I don't know. I'll say nothing about that, Emmet, but he's a very likeable horse. And you wouldn't begrudge him winning it. I mean, we'd all love to own a horse like him. They don't come more consistent than him, But look, it's one of those, anything can win it. I'd be looking for something that might be racing handy. So Washington Heights should be up in the first 3 or 4, and possibly he might just be good enough, but no strong fancies at all.
Okay, for the first time on this episode of the podcast, we are going to head to Newmarket, and we're going to go there for the Bunbury Cup, the Bet365 Bunbury Cup, to give it its proper pronunciation and proper title, for that matter, given their sponsorship of the meeting and that race. Over to 7 furlongs. There's a reason we don't have the camera angle showing you the floor. It's because, 1, I'm very lazy, and 2, you would still see the peas and carrots that are being cleaned up here from More Thunder's defeat. When right live on Royal Ascot coverage on TalkSport 2, I did projectile, insert colourful language, all over this desk and all over the floor. My God, how did he get him beat? How did he get him beat? Anyway...
Sweet Ombudsman we're talking about, or...
Oh, no,
No.
You can go on your Buick rant on Monday's Final Furlong podcast. We have a jockey coming on the show as well, so the Jockeys Union will be here to defend Mr. Buick if you would like. William Buick, special guest on Monday's show. Make sure, hit the like and subscribe button right now on YouTube, and of course on all podcast apps and some rubbish ones as well. If you're with us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, where most of you listen to the show, we're very, very grateful for your support there. But also head over to the YouTube channel and hit the like button and hit subscribe. Have you hit like on this episode? Because if you have, it means I don't have to keep asking you about it. Thank you very much. It's a massive help to us with the algorithm. Ross Burley always gets those likes for the Racing Post. We can get those too, can't we? Shout out to Ross Burley. Class act. Okay. Sweet, sweet justice. Surely George Gorman. Surely. Back to a track he has won at twice this season. Back up to 7 furlongs. And no Tom Marquand getting the reins all caught up and the pro cush stuck. He just goes and wins. Simple.
While you were very upset about that race, Emmet, obviously you were like the fact that we had the 1-2-3 on the final furlong and the 28-1 shot beat it. You're very pleased for our listeners, of course.
Oh yeah. I was super thrilled. I was thrilled for them all and so happy and really happy about the DMs I got from people saying thank you so much for the TriCast of that race with me not having a bean on it.
Look, I've just already said in this podcast, I think the Buckingham Palace Stakes is the best bit of handicap form here at Royal Ascot. The winner of the Wokingham ran to a racing post rating of 112. Winner of the Buckingham Palace ran to a race post rating of 118. So I'm with Acadian Thunder here. He's up £4 for finishing second in the Buckingham Palace Stakes. Look, he was never going to beat Never So Brave, but he was well clear of the third. And the fact he's up £4, Never So Brave's up £10, I think is pretty lenient, really, for what he's done there. Like while More Thunder and £10 are up £3 and £2 respectively, I just don't think they achieved as much, finishing ahead and half a length behind Get It in the Wokingham. For all that they could both expect to improve up to 7 furlongs. That's my one caveat. They'll go. Both of those horses have either competed well or won at further than 6 furlongs and ran very well at Royal Ascot. But I just think I'm going with the stronger form line, Acadian Thunder. He'll be my main player in the race. And as collateral to that, my sort of bigger price each way one has to be Mile, who is 3.5 lengths behind Acadian Thunder at Royal Ascot. He gets a £4 pull at the weights with him here as he runs off the same mark again, which I think is again very lenient. That mark we shouldn't forget was earned when recording a nose victory at Chester over Never So Brave. But don't get me wrong, Never So Brave hit a lot of traffic, but Mile had to burn a lot of energy from I think the second widest draw to get to the front. He's 6 from his last 9. The 3 defeats came when unable to make the running early. However, one was when trying a mile for the first time, and last time was undoubtedly unable to make the running. So I think he might be getting more adaptable with racing. So I'm taking the Buckingham Palace form to trump the Wokingham form with Acadian Thunder and Mile.
Mile is the 3rd highest rated on Pro Form as well, for that matter, just to throw that into the mix. Andy Newton, how do you see this race going?
Yeah. Just quickly on that Mile. I mean, that's Steph Hollinshead yard. They're probably the highest strike rate in on show here for the sort of 4+ year olds, 31%. So obviously Murphy's booked as well. So that could be interesting when you say at 20-1. It's a trick. I mean, there's a massive stat against More Thunder, which is 22 of the last 23 winners of this race have won over 7 furlongs before. All right, look, it has won over further, over a mile too, but that's like literally pretty much all of the last 23 winners have had some kind of a win over 7 furlongs. And More Thunder, as we know, is stepping up from 6. But, the way it ran last time, it's crying out for further, surely. And I don't know, Tom Morecambe was obviously devastated afterwards. I think Matt Chapman interviewed him at Windsor the following Monday, and you could broken then. And really, I mean, it's going to be probably a silly price. It's already very short, isn't it? 7-4. Haggis has never won this either, but it's just hard to see it not staying on and liking it has won twice at Newmarket, but that was over the Rolling Mile. But there's no reason why it won't run well here. It has run well on the July course before. I think 3rd back in June last year. So it has to be More Thunder, and I think at a price maybe dark 30. Course and distance winner, only because the Handicap have got a fairly good record in this race as well. They've won in 2 of the last 5 and 3 in total. If you go back a bit further, it's only up £6 for its Salisbury win. Up in trip will be fine, and that looks at quite a big price as well, around sort of 16, 20s, dark 30. But yeah, More Thunder, hard to sort of go against it really.
He's a group. It's exactly that, Andy, and I take on board all of the little bits of nuggets of information which are very valuable. I think the fact that he's won over further, though, when trained by Stout, kind of circumvents the fact that he hasn't won over 7 furlongs. I wouldn't worry too much about that. And the way he finished that race, Peter Michael, he's clearly a group horse in the Handicap.
Oh, yeah. I think, I mean, I think he'll get shorter. Andy said he's not much like which he is a short price, and I know what Andy's saying, but looking up even more. I can't see him drifting anyway.
Yeah,
I can't see him drifting. To be honest, I would be major. Now I would respect £10. He'd be the danger, but I would be majorly surprised. In fact, I'd be shocked if either More Thunder or Cajun Thunder doesn't win this race. And I would definitely prefer More Thunder. I'm a big fan of Cajun Thunder. I've gone on about him many times. He's won for us this season. My tipping group at 10-1. Well, we didn't tip him. He was 10s, but he was lower. But when we tipped him, look, well, I think you could nearly like Cajun Thunder has to prove himself in the track, whereas More Thunder doesn't. I think this is nearly a certainty forecast. That's how strong I am. I think More Thunder will win, and his only danger is Cajun Thunder, and I think he'll probably finish that way. And I think even if Jesus was jocked up in any of the other horses, they wouldn't be able to beat these two. I can't see anything touching these two. I just can't.
What about the draw? Do you think the draws
makes no difference? No difference. 30 can be drawn 50 against this field and probably still beat them. Cajun Thunder is the only one I'm worried for him. £10 as well could be the little flying ointment against these two, but geez, Thunder over 7 furlongs can't win off 98 and win well. I think I'll be more shocked than John Gosden after that Ombudsman ride.
You're in again. Yeah.
I'll be getting it in a few times, don't worry. Worst riding tactical ride.
So if Acadian Thunder beats More Thunder William Buick up, you will be absolutely sick.
Acadian Thunder is a big... No, I'm backing both of them. I'm betting both of them. I can't see...
It's a Thunder double.
Yeah, I think a Thunder will definitely win this, and I'm pretty sure it will be More Thunder, but if he underperforms Acadian Thunder... I mean, these are two... Like, More Thunder is a Group 2 horse in my mind. He's a Group 2 horse over 7 furlongs. I've been waiting for him to go 7 furlongs, and like the way this horse finishes over 6 furlongs, he's going to take some stopping on Saturday.
They're drawn next to each other as well, which is interesting. So Arcadians.
Yeah. Well, they're both come from behind, so.
But the last 10 winners have been, you look back at it, there's quite a high draw sort of bias here. I think I think 8 of them have been drawn 10 or higher of the last. 8 of the last 10.
I really don't think the draw. It's only a small field with this More Thunder. I mean,
that's a plus for More Thunder.
But what I mean is the draw. No matter where he's drawn. I mean, it's a small field. Tom's going to 7 furlongs. He's going to have plenty of time, even if he was drawn bad. Look, this. I don't know what that was, but I'm sure I wasn't the only one that heard.
Well, the time form pace forecast is very strong as well. There's at least 2 horses who want to properly go off, and there's probably 6 that want to be forward. So he's going to get a strong pace.
Oh no, yeah. Look,
So our official betting advice is the Final Furlong podcast is go into your local betting shop, do a little illegible squiggle, and then clearly the word Thunder.
Yeah.
And hand it in. Emmet, close your ears, your betting shop pedigree. I don't want you listening to this bit. And then just claim it's either Acadian or More, depending on which one comes in.
Well, I think More Thunder is... I mean, I'm a big fan of Acadian Thunder. It wouldn't surprise me if he beat him. But, well, it would. It would surprise me. I think More Thunder will win this and Acadian Thunder will come second. I'm pretty confident. If Acadian Thunder handles the undulations of Newmarket.
And I would say, just because Andy mentioned him, Dark 30 runs here under a £6 penalty, and he's only due to go. So there's 2 ways of looking at it: is that either he's carrying £2 more than he needs to, or owners were so keen to get him out again that they're not bothered about running with £2 more than they should be carrying.
Yeah,
it's just worth mentioning.
Absolutely, and it was something I was thinking about as well. Billy Lucknan, a good jockey book.
The more I think of this, so I meant the dip on his undulations. The more I think of this, More Thunder is an absolute certainty.
I think so.
Certainty. Biggest certainty today. Yeah. But I would be covering up an Acadian Thunder as well. So
and Dark 30.
No, but he doesn't have a chance. That's what I said about Classic the last time. Only messing.
What he did at Royal Ascot was extraordinary. But what he's done at Newmarket over 6 furlongs on his first 2 starts.
Yeah.
He'll rip this field to shreds. Okay, 310 York is the John Smith's Cup Handicap. This is one of my favourite races of the season. We've got Archivist. The system is in play again. More Thunder, ex-Sir Michael Stout. Never So Brave, ex-Sir Michael Stout. Now we got 2 of them in the same race. Archivist, who is 2 from 2 for William Haggis this season. Adam Farner on board. He's a 3-1 shot. And up against him is Fox Legacy, another ex-Sir Michael Stout horse, now in the care of Andrew Balding, PJ McDonald. Andrew Balding keeps winning these big races and probably wasn't suited by the mile last time out at Royal Ascot. Probably just found it all happening a little bit too fast for him. Ran very well, though, against My Cloud and will appreciate going back up to 10 furlongs here. I think him and Archivist are the two to be focused on, George Gorman, but who are you with?
Neither of them. It's going to be Hand of God for me. I tipped him up in the Duke of Edinburgh, but he won the Golden Gates last year's Royal Ascot. Looked like he had loads in hand. His next run was nearly a year later off £11 higher. That was obviously a sighter for the Duke of Edinburgh. I thought he ran very well, where he ultimately didn't get home over the mile 4. And I think, look, in the Golden Gates, he was clearly capable of winning with at least an extra 5. He's £10 higher here, but I saw enough at Ascot to think he's a better horse this year, and he should at least be able to hit the frame off this mark back down in trip. And a bit more of a left field one. Ancient Rome is obviously a dual Group 3 winner, best known for his exploits at that level. But he's improved with each of his 3 runs in Handicap Company this season, which first time he's been in Handicap Company for a long time. He was 10th in the Royal Hunt Cup. It was better than when he was beating 10 lengths in the UK this year, and miles better than his 2 abysmal runs in the Middle East. Last time he returned to this trip for the first time since finishing 3rd in last year's Arlington Millions, and he broke well, which hasn't been the case for him fairly recently. He can, whether he gets taken back by Spencer or whether he just doesn't break well, I'm not sure. But he broke well and stayed on really well to be beaten just 3/4 length into 3rd at Sandown. And he's only £2 higher here. And on his best day, he can make a mark of 102 look very silly. And it just looks like he's building towards something for me. So I'll take a small interest in him each way, but Hand of God is my main play.
I thought Ancient Rome ran a blinder last week as well. It's interesting. It's a quick turnaround for him. That's an intriguing one. Andy Newton for you?
Yeah, it was. They sort of finished in a bit of a heat, didn't they, last week at Sandown? But it's interesting that they're bringing it out after just a week. And, like George said, it could still go well, even though it's got a big weight here, that Ancient Rome. 6-year-old, though, is the little nigger. I mean, look, 11 of the last 14 have been 4 or 5 here. Archivist, the Haggis one, he had about 3 entered in it earlier in the week, didn't he? And he's come down this one. But I wouldn't be too put off with the 3-year-old stack. I looked back, and there hasn't been many 3-year-old winners in this race. Flip side, there's only been 2 since 2015 that have even run in it.
Yeah.
3. So wouldn't put you off that. Obviously, it gets in here with a lightweight. It looks like it's an improver. And Haggis has got a great record in this. He's won it 3 times. But another trainer has got a good record in this. Mr. Balding won it a couple of times. And who's he won it with? Both times he's won it. Who have they been owned by?
Oh, the Leicester City owners.
Who own Fox Legacy. Right, so it's all shaped. King Power, the King Power boys. So the two Balding winners in this race, Johnny Drama and I think it was Pidwan or something it was called, wasn't it? Have been owned by the Leicester boys, and I think Fox Legacy, like you said, Emmett, ran all right at Ascot. You watched that race back. Clearly, the trip was a bit on the short side. Back up here today. It's won over a mile 1 or whatever before in the past, won over this trip as well. So they won the big race last week, the old Newton Cup, and I think it was PJ on that day as well, PJ McDonald. I'm not sure he's one of Peter's biggest fans. Is he another one that he gets?
No, I just don't.
But anyway, he landed the big one last week, the big handicap for Balding. I think they can do so again. Make it 3 winners for the Powers and the Baldings in this race.
That Plage de Harville will win. He was a good winner for us on the Final Furlong podcast last week. If you were on, if you followed us in, hit the like button now, please, on YouTube. Thank you very much. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and all good podcast apps, and some rubbish ones as well. Much appreciated. That horse will win the Ebor. I think he's a proper horse, that Plage de Harville. That was a fantastic performance. It's 2 votes of confidence so for Fox Legacy. Peter, Michael, what are your thoughts?
It's as you'd expect. It's a competitive race. The Haggis horse, obviously, he's improving and has to be respected, and he's as good a chance as any. As I see that Storm, who bumped into a horse who I like, Burrito, the last time, and previously he'd won a good few in a row and was second by Liberty Coach before the York run. So he's probably the one I'm going to put up, but it is a competitive race. I wouldn't have a very strong fancy. I think an outsider that could run well, I think he's 66. Let me see. Yeah, 66 to 1. Old Toon Loon might be worth a fiver each way at that odds. He didn't run as bad as a Reeds at Ascot, but I mean, it doesn't read that bad. He's only beaten 8 1/4 lengths. Royal a bad run over Mile Hcp, but I think you could upgrade him a little bit in that run. And just for that mere fact that you could upgrade him a little bit in that run, and he's that price, I couldn't let him go unbacked.
Is that Tom Dascombe's only horse he's got left? That one, because he doesn't seem to have many horses. It's bad.
Well, yeah, he's ever since Michael Owen took them away. But anyway, look, he's a big price. I think there's a small chance he could outrun his odds. But Seed of Storm would probably be my main fancy, but I wouldn't be. It'd be small, very small stakes.
Old Toon Loon, 28 to 1 is the price I'm currently seeing now about him. He's been smashed.
Oh no, he's 66 when I'm looking at it here.
That's
a big difference now. That's a big difference.
Yeah, he's been smashed up. Those bookies, when Peter Michael strikes, those bookies duck. They run for cover straight away. More on that a little bit later on. Okay, Fox Legacy for me. I really like Archivist as well. If he was to drift, I might Dutch, but right now Fox Legacy is the one for me and for Andy Newton. And when we agree, it can be dangerous. Bet365 Mile, as these two boys who have to wear leather jackets or jockey silks on the show next week can attest. 325 Newmarket, Bet365 Mile Handicap. We'll just talk briefly about this one. We've got two at the top of the market for Godolphin. We'll talk about their juveniles in a second as well. Not so sure about the strength of them, but the Godolphin Yard at Newmarket, red hot on day one. Opera Bello. Thank you. Saving the 10-bet list. Thankfully. And Bedouin Prince is the choice of William Buick. He's 2 from 2. I love these Gayats, George Gorman. Opera Bello is by Gayath as well. They're always going to improve with racing. They're going to improve with age. And this horse will have a very, very big chance in this.
Yeah, I sort of tried to pick holes in him as if he was 11 to 8, and he's not. He's 5 to 2, so he probably is a fair price. But the second and fifth from that Newmarket novice win of won since, third and fourth finished second since. They're all rated sort of between 82 and 87 now, those horses. He beat them as he liked, giving them £7, so probably a mark of 100 is probably about right. I think he probably would have to improve a small bit to win off 100, but there's obviously no reason to think he won't with that little race. One that stood out a little bit to me, though, I think Secret Theory arguably achieved just as much on his second race course start when he gave Archivist and Mr. Winston £7 each and a beating at Nottingham in April. While Archivist didn't get the clearest of runs that day, he's won both his starts since and is now rated 97, which is the mark Secret Theory runs off of here. Mr. Winston was second twice subsequently before winning at Chester last time, and he does reoppose off £6 better terms here. But he didn't run that great the last day. Secret Theory behind that, but I suppose you could argue 5 lengths and change behind Amalok isn't that bad, to be honest. But they've gelded him since. He wore a hood at Nottingham, so there was obviously something. He obviously wasn't the easiest to deal with. In fact, they've gelded him now. I don't know the stats on it, but Charlie Appleby, I seem to remember, has a pretty decent record with horses that he gelds.
He'd want to. He does it enough.
Exactly, yeah. I just think of Yabir is always the one that jumps into my head. It's just Yabir every time. But I think if the geldings brought him on enough, he could prove better than 97, for sure. It was nearly a no-bet race for me, but when I made this opinion, he was 12 to 1. Now he's 17 to 2. So someone agrees. Someone agrees. So I would take a small interest on Secret Theory here.
Well, I was interested in Secret Theory because of the Nottingham run behind Archivist, where he beat Archivist. And
where he beat Archivist, yeah.
He travelled really nicely that day. And I'm pretty sure the Haggis team were pretty confident that they were going to win, and yet he pulled away. And you just have to forgive him the run the last day, which was disappointing, but he was sent off favourite to beat Amalok. And at the time, the Beckett team already liked Amalok. They thought very highly of him, and yet this horse was still sent off favourite for it. So sometimes you just have to look at that stuff. Can you remember who was third that day, George?
Racing Post. Oh, God. I'm going to look it up.
Noble Champion who went on to win the Jersey Stakes. So he's got 2 Royal Ascot winners.
Yeah, Racing Post actually marked that run at Goodwood as £1 better than his win at Nottingham.
Yeah.
I know you can't always rely on them, but they would have done that before Amalok and Noble Champion went and did what they did. So they obviously, it was thought of as a good run at the time, and yet Charlie held this horse, which means a Racing Post rating of 96 he considers to be well below him, and he runs off 97 here. Like it's a price thing. It's a price thing. The jockeys that they've booked for these three horses says to me it was a tricky decision for Will Buick, because like to have three runners of the race, have Will Buick, Ryan Moore and James Doyle riding for you. I know you get the best available in general, but they haven't thrown any like younger lads a bone here, have they? I think they think all three of them have a chance.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I would imagine that he's going to improve for the first run off at Gelding up as well. It's just the form is very, very interesting. That defeat of Archivist reads really well, and being sent off favourite to beat Amalok, considering what he's then gone on to do, I think he's a really interesting one. The fact that Noble Champion has come out and won the Jersey Stakes as well. You've got two Royal Ascot winners in front of you. I like him a lot. Still sort of interested in Bedouin Prince. What is your thoughts, Andy?
Well, I mean, I think George is right, and I think you touched on it as well. I mean, it probably was a tricky pick for Buick. I mean, he rode fifth column at Ascot last time. He's ridden Secret, but he's never ridden Bedouin Prince, has he? So he's taking a bit of a leap of faith. Obviously, you know, he would have sat on it at home and this, that, and the other. But you just, you have to trust that, really. You know, it could be a Buick Moore battle again, like last week in the Eclipse, and we'll see. But I just think that, you know, that win last time out from Bedouin Prince at Newmarket, yes, it was on the rolling mile, but that form has been frank. The second, that Wicked has gone out and won since. The third has run that second twice since, which is okay. And I think even the fifth has come out and won in that race. We know it stays further. It's won over a mile too. And Appleby, look, he's won 4 of the last 7 of this. Buick's won 3 of the last 4. So it could be a Godolphin 1, 2, 3 here. It could easily.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be surprised at all. But I'm just going to trust Buick's made the right pick here, which it could have been a tricky one, but Bedouin Prince, I think, is the call.
Okay. Proform top rated is Secret Theory, which is interesting because jockey bookings will be factored in, I think, to how they formulate that. Peter, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, another race, like a few we've covered earlier on, a nice race that you could learn a bit from, but I don't have any on it, I'm afraid. But I would agree with you boys. I mean, I think we all agree that Godolphin will win it. Which one is the question? Probably out of their 3, if I had to leave one out, maybe fifth column, but I mean, I couldn't be confident. I think Bedouin Prince is probably the one to beat, and Secret Theory could be his main danger. As you guys said, he's been gelded after his Goodwood run. Hadn't done anything wrong before that, and like that wasn't a bad run either, you know. Beaten 5 lengths by Amalok is nothing, it's not a bad run at all. It's a tricky race. It's a tricky little race, but apart from those 3, the Haggis horse had no excuses at Ascot, I don't think. Murphy and Balding, obviously you have to respect them teaming up there. They win a lot of races. Saxon Fire Blinkers first time, that could spark a bit of improvement. Yeah, look, I think Bedouin Prince is the one to beat, and maybe Secret Theory to chase him home, but I wouldn't be betting here.
But Peter, you're back in love with Buick then, yeah?
No, I don't. Buick is a good jockey, but in my arse is he top class.
Oh!
No, he's not top class.
Oh!
He's not top class. Not a hope.
He's ridden 2,000 winners in Britain.
I would have ridden 3,000 if I was riding his horses that he's ridden. I weigh 13 stone. The amount of Group 1s he's lost, I wish I'd made a list of them over the last 10 years. So many of them.
On the day he reaches 2,000 winners, his greatest achievement in racing, Peter Michael was just cutting his ankles out from under him.
William Buick is a good jockey, there's no doubt in that, but he's completely overrated, completely. And that Ombudsman ride will go down in history in my book as the worst tactical ride ever.
If Delacroix got a clear run, Delacroix would have absolutely destroyed
different
him.
League. Different league.
Easily. He would have murdered him easily. He's the most overrated horse in training, and that handicapper looks an absolute fool now. Within 3 weeks, he was made to look a complete and total buffoon. He got away with it with Mostadaf. He got very, very lucky with Mostadaf. But this time, not so much.
No, you're going to eat your words.
No, Delacroix crushed that fella again. He'll crush him by further the next day.
Different league.
Bedouin Prince will win under close personal friend and great jockey William Buick. The top class Buick. On Buick Elstock. Send them on. Send them on, Buick. Bedouin Prince will win and Secret Theory will be second. I think he hated the track at Goodwood the last day, but he'll back to a track he's won it before. He'll do well. Hey, do you know who might be in the winner's enclosure in the 4 o'clock at Newmarket in the Superlative Stakes? Our close personal friend William Buick, or will it be Ryan Moore, or will it be James Doyle? It may very well be those three. We've got Oisin Murphy with Venetian Lace as well. This is a really, really interesting running of the Bet365 Superlative Stakes. It was obviously won 2 years ago by City of Troy, who went on to be a complete and utter superstar for Aidan O'Brien. That was his third winner of the race since 2005. But Charlie Appleby has taken 5 of the last 10 runnings of this, and he fires 2 bullets. Sabre Desert, who went to Sandown to win a maiden, that tends to be a very good guide for a Godolphin horse, or one that Charlie rates very, very highly, George. That's where Ruling Court made his debut. He sent a couple of other horses that went on to group race success as well, including Native Trail, who won that race at Sandown and then won this one. And Sabre Desert goes the exact same route, follows in his hoof prints. And Wild Desert, who is a half-brother to European champion juvenile Earthlight and European champion juvenile Shadow of Light, who I have a raised eyebrow about now, but still is expected to improve. He needs to improve on the back of his defeat last time out, but it was a horror show under Pat Dobbs. He got stuck in a pocket in a 5-runner race, stuck on the rail, didn't get a clear run. When he finally did, Dougie Costello had got to the front on his stable companion who was making his debut, and Dougie Costello is very, very hard to pass in the closing stages of a race. He couldn't quite get there, plus he was giving him a penalty. He can improve, but will it matter? Because is Italy just the next superstar off the Ballydoyle production line, and is he just going to crush this lot?
I don't know if he's the next superstar or not at this point, but he beat the subsequent Chesham second Secret Advisory on racecourse debut. He's the one they've all got to beat. The one I thought might be overpriced is Venetian Lace, but he would have to come on for his 2 1/4 length Chesham fourth, because again, he had work to do with the Secret Adversary that day, and the Secret Adversary got kicked out the way by Italy, who was making his racecourse debut. So that might be how I play it, to be fair. Are you runners? Yeah, that might be how I play it. I might do a small forecast on the 2 of them. I couldn't be backing Italy at 4 to 6. But I might do it. Just 11 to 1 seems very unfair for a horse that has done very little wrong so far. So that might be how I play it. And just a quick mention, are we doing the Silver Cup at York, 3:45?
I don't know. Are we doing the Silver Cup at York? Do you have a big fancy for that race?
I just thought we'd do it. It was 15 minutes before this. I can go very quickly.
Tell you what, hold it. Andy, do you have one for the Silver Cup?
I can, if you want to. Yeah,
That's a no. Peter, do you have one for the Silver Cup?
Wait, what time is it?
Doesn't matter. In which case,
I will check my tracker if the racing post wasn't acting up.
Leave that until the end, George. Keep that one under your hat till the end of the show. We'll back to it then. That was not on the running order, so that's an interesting one. But a bonus selection is coming your way from George Gorman towards the end of the show. These Aidan O'Brien 2-year-olds are obviously doing exceptionally well. Now, today didn't quite go to plan for Brussels, Andy. I was kicking myself so much having talked up the Eve Johnson Houghton horse so much, and even doing the logic of, hey, why is she running this horse when she could run him off a penalty in a novice, and yet she's going to this race, and by the way, she knows exactly what she needs to beat Maximised because she has Havana Hurricane, and he really should have beaten Maximised in the Woodcote Stakes. So I was right about that, but thankfully a lot of people followed us in, and I did back him in a small lucky 63, so that was pleasing.
That was another brainless ride. It was the move he made at that point. He should have won the race. I agree with Emmet. That was a brainless ride again, threw the race away that day.
Yeah, but that being said, that's not Buick, by the way. That was Charles Bishop, friend of the show, Charles Bishop, and he got it right the next day at Royal Ascot, much to George Gorman's delight when he tipped up Havana Hurricane on the Final Furlong podcast as well. So shout out Charles, and he was great today. The thing that would worry me a little bit about these Godolphin 2-year-olds, Andy, is, and the reason I'm mentioning Maximised is Charlie Appleby said after Maximised won the Woodcut, oh, we've got a nice team of 2-year-olds for Royal Ascot, and so we might just keep him back for the July Stakes. And then not only does Maximised get thrashed in the July Stakes, those Godolphin 2-year-olds didn't do much at all. They didn't do anything at Royal Ascot, and that's a real concern because, hey, I tipped humidity on this show and on TalkSport too, so I was delighted with the Chesham result. Pat on back. If you don't do it, who will? But it's worth pointing out that my colleague on the day was Louis Stewart, the former jockey who's excellent, and he told me that morning he spoke with William Buick. Buick wouldn't hear a defeat for Tremor. Like, they were unbelievably bullish about that horse in the Chesham Stakes, and he got destroyed. So, I don't know. Maybe these Godolphin horses are really good. Maybe these two will take a big step forward, but maybe they're just not that good.
Yeah, you can probably pick holes in that Sabbath Desert sort of debut run as well. I mean, the time was pretty much bang on 2 seconds slower than Italy's. I know, obviously, different tracks and what have you, but the second that Boiling Over has come out and only run 4th next time out, the third was 7th in the Chesham. So obviously there's some form there that ties in with Italy, with the one George mentioned who was second, the Secret Advisory. So just based on that pure form there, I mean, it's hard to look away from Italy. I mean, obviously I was there last week, and I'm not just backing horses on when my holiday day, but it was visually impressive last time. I mean, he looked in trouble and then just sort of made up so much ground, didn't it, in the last sort of half a furlong at Leopardstown, and that form. Look, the third and fourth have been a bit in that race, but I think we can probably just ignore that and just say, look, the Secret Advisory coming out running second in the Chesham has franked the form. Is it already favourite for the Derby? This Italy, I think it's about 12-1. It's got some kind of family bloodline with Serpentine, isn't it? I think as well.
Isn't it the Dam is a listed winning sister to?
Yeah, something like that. Is it
Wootton Bassett out of a Gallo Mare as well? That's a very Derby-ish pedigree.
Yeah, the Wootton Bassett Galileo.
I know Joe Wildmore from the Final Flight. He might be from James Woods' podcast. He's been on this horse, I think, since day dot for the Derby. So he probably deserves a bit of a shout out. He's got some very fancy prices about it.
Shout out, well done.
Yeah, just looked a beast, didn't it? I think at Leopardstown, and it's don't need me to say that it's going to improve. And the fact they've missed out Royal Ascot, it's had a couple of months to freshen up again and strengthen up and what have you. It's just, I don't know. It just looks like it could be the next superstar. We'll find out. But as you say, the Godolphin 2-year-olds can't have them at the moment. So Italy all the way wins this, and he's going to go single figures for the Derby, probably, isn't it?
Yeah. 100% he will be. Yeah, the Dam is a half-sister to Serpentine. So he's bred for the job, Peter. There's an awful lot to like about him. I thought he was slowly away on debut, and it took a little bit of time for him to warm up. My goodness, when he does warm up, he's really strong at the line. I wasn't that impressed with Sabbath Desert. I'm sure he's going to improve and go forward. And I respect the fact that he was sent off a strong favourite at Sandown as well, to be fair. Form doesn't seem up to a whole lot. Wild Desert was the one that interested me more, and he's the one that I think might just be a little bit underestimated, and I'll probably play him for the forecast. But as much as I tried to take on Italy, and I did, I don't really have much of an interest in taking him on.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll win, but the bookies have him priced accordingly. I wouldn't be backing a horse in the second run of his life at odds on. But look, it's an Aidan O'Brien horse with the potential to be in Group 1 horse, so maybe you might put him in a double or something just for a bit of interest. Yeah, look, he's by far and away the most likely winner. Out of the others, I think Venetian Lace could run well, chase him home, and I think Bourbon Blues, the total outside of the field, is overpriced here. Ladbroke sometimes pay 3 places in 700 races. I think they're one of the few firms that do it. So if they're paying 3 places, which they probably will for a race like this, that might be, he might sneak into a place, or he might even come second to Italy. He might be one for the forecast as well. I think he's a bit overpriced, but he does have a bit to final form. But yeah, look, Italy's by far and away the most likely winner, and very, very likely that he'll win, but he's no value at that price.
They would have gone to Royal Ascot with him. He would have run in the Chesham, but they changed the rules. You can't qualify for that through your Dam line. You can only qualify for it by the Sire line, and your Sire has to be a 10 furlong winner. And he's by Wootton Bassett. So That's why he didn't go to Royal Ascot. That's why he comes to this race instead. This has been the long-term target for him, and I suspect he will take an enormous amount of beating.
He will. Oh, yeah, he will.
I only just realised, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, that we had not updated the bottom ticker scroller, despite the fact that it was there for a few races. So apologies for that. If you were going, why are they still talking about the 250 Bunbury Cup when they're actually talking about other races? Sorry, we'll go on to the final race until George brings in some other ones at the very end. It's the feature race the entire weekend. It is the July Cup. Or to give it its proper title, the Albasti Equiworld Dubai July Cup Stakes. That's the race to talk about. These bunch of sprinters are useless. Are just an average bunch, so they could be blown apart by a proper Group 1 performer in Notable Speech. Is he a proper Group 1 performer? But he does have class, he does have speed, and he might just have a little bit too much for them. Speaking of 3-year-olds getting the advantage, surely if there's ever going to be a day that Whistlejacket wins a Group 1, this has to be the one where he'll take a big step forward. Back to the scene of his July Stakes win, a dominant performance that day as well, and he gets the 3-year-old weight allowance, and he continues to be very well backed. He's gone from 7s into 5-1 as we're speaking. In the last few minutes, he was 6-1 about an hour ago. He's now 5-1. Symbol of Honour 6s. Oisin Murphy rides for the Classic Generation, and Flora Bermuda, who keeps running well in these races, but she does also keep getting beaten, and she's not a double figure price in this race, George. She's a single figure price. So what are your thoughts on the July Cup?
It's pretty underwhelming in general. We've seen 1-4 races, but seeing Whistlejacket this far up the betting for a proper Group 1, it's a bit like seeing an elephant at the top of the tree, isn't it? You don't know how it got there, but you know it's not going to end well. Like, Jesus. As same with Notable Speech, to be fair. I've got to be with Flora of Bermuda. I was with her at Ascot. She's only a 4-year-old, but she matched her previous career best on her seasonal reappearance. A previous career best for that was when half a length second in the champion sprint over 6 furlongs on soft ground. So she matched that RPR of 1:16 first time out this year when she was beaten in neck by Innis Sheeran in the Clipper Stakes with Knight Raider in behind her. That was obviously on a quicker surface, which sort of gave you the confidence going into Ascot she could run a race. She was the only horse that seemed to make any ground on those front two, who are two of the best sprinters in the world, Lazat and the Japanese horse. She came from nearly the back. Like, she must have done the fastest final 2 furlongs. Like, she's got to have too much speed for these, I think. Like, there's nothing of Lazat, so I don't see how she sort of... Yeah, I just think it's hers to lose, to be honest. I'm going to give one more chance at a big price to Ides of March as well.
Oh,
it was too bad to be true at Ascot, and look, I've been through it all before on here, but it was a Group 3 winner at 2, ran reasonably in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. The first 2 runs this season, like, on the face of it, were decent, but the half a length defeat to Whistlejacket on seasonal debut, you can mark that up, given it was on soft ground, because his only other start on soft, it was his only start on soft ground, having been withdrawn from the middle part last year because of the ground on soft ground. And then when he got beat by Symbol of Honour, like, he made this big, huge mid-race move to take up the lead, had nothing to run with. The third horse carried Symbol of Honour to the front. Ides of March couldn't even see him. Once he came over and joined the third horse, he ran on well, and I think he was better than Symbol of Honour that day, plain and simple. And given he's substantially short in the betting for this, I've got to take a small each-way interest. The Ascot run was too bad to be true. I don't know if being so close to the pace didn't suit him, but there's room for 5 away. I've got to take... You're probably going to get extra places all over the place on this race, so I'll take a small each-way interest on Ides of March at a massive price, but to me, it's Flora Bermuda's to lose, and I'd be far more concerned about Innis Sheeran in first-time cheap pieces than I would be about Whistlejacket or Notable Speech.
George Bowie had Ryan Moore over doing a piece of work on Believing, which apparently went really, really well. The reason I think that's interesting is because this is her last ever start, and she deserves a proper mention for that. She's been a wonderful filly. She got her deserved Group 1 in Dubai, and she was probably drawn on the wrong side at Royal Ascot, and it is significant that she was sent off favourite for that race. But Ryan Moore is Coolmore's number 1, not Aidan's number 1. He obviously rides for Aidan an awful lot because Aidan is the primary trainer, but he is Coolmore's number 1 rider. So if he really wanted to, he could be on Believing. He's not. He's on Whistlejacket. And I think that says an awful lot. I think that speaks volumes about his chance in this race. I did think Ides of March was interesting. We talked him up a little bit during the week when we were doing the early preview of this race at a big price, but I found it difficult to get away from Whistlejacket the more I looked at this race, Andy. I think it's going to be either him or Notable Speech. These sprinters just keep beating one another. Notable Speech is the fascinating new form line into it, and Whistlejacket has to be given weight by everything. And watch back his Commonwealth Cup. He gets mullered at the start, and then he gets no run at a very crucial point of the race when Ryan wants to go forward. He cannot. And when he finally does get a gap, he finishes the race full of running. That form is working out reasonably well too. Even Time for Sandals form ties in with the Group 1 winner in France at the weekend who beat Shadow of Light and The Line in Winter. So might not be as bad as it looked at the time. I like Whistlejacket in this race. I don't love the price, but I like him.
And who was Aidan's only winner at the meeting last year?
Whistlejacket.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he bids to become the first July Stakes winner to go on and win the July Cup since Green Desert back in ’85.
Oh, don't like that.
No, well, I don't know. To be fair, I don't know how many have tried. So, look, I'm sort of with you as well. Aidan's on 5 winners in the race. He needs one more. He's joint with Vincent O'Brien and another guy, but he needs one more to sort of go out on his own right in this race. And it's one of those sort of it's a poor renewal, isn't it? Obviously, and but we know Whistlejacket in the past, but that run last time at the Commonwealth Cup, like you said, once he got the gap, he was finishing well. I mean, look, the ground. A lot of people are going to go on about the ground a little bit. Is it too firm? All its wins have been, or better runs have been with a bit of give, haven't they, Whistlejacket? But, it did run all right at the Breeders' Cup. It ran all right. Last time the ground was good to firm, and I think it handled it all right. So I'm not that worried. In a sort of poor race, Notable Speech, yes, we just have to see whether it can handle the drop back in trip. There is some sort of hope on the breeding. I think it's by Invincible Spirit, isn't it, which literally won all its races over 6 furlongs. So, they've forked out, 36 grand. But, the fact they've forked out, well, they've supplemented 2, haven't they? That one and that Spy Chief as well has to have a few alarm bells as symbol of honour, even though that has run well this season. Loves the 6 furlongs and what have you. But the fact they've forked out over 70 grand to get 2 other horses in would be a little bit of a worry. In shearing, first time cheap pieces. My problem with Flora of Bermuda is just that he's probably the best form in the race, 3rd in the QE2 Jubilee and all that. But 1 win in 11. That would be a little bit of a niggle for me. So look, Whistlejacket, the price is going. I've been sort of harping on about it a little bit on X, and I think whether the price was 8, might have been in double figures earlier in the week. But look, it might be a bold statement, but it might even go favourite. I don't know the way it's going.
I think you're right.
It could, especially obviously Moore and O'Brien and blah blah blah. So get on now. I think Whistlejacket is the call here. Yeah,
if you like him, I think now is the time to back him. And I'm pretty certain January will have won the Falmouth Stakes by the time this race is coming along as well. And it's also just worth bearing in mind, for the last 2 weekends, Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore have won all-aged Group 1s with classic generation horses. Whirl in the Pretty Polly Stakes beating Calpana. Delacroix, the superior horse to Ombudsman in the Eclipse Stakes.
You're blind.
And they may very well go and do it again now with Whistlejacket. And I do think Andy's right. I think there's a fair chance this horse goes off favourite. It's just a sustained stream of cash for him.
Sorry, the other thing just to quickly mention is that Godolphin, look, they don't have a great record in this race. They've only won it once, and that was at that Harry Angel. Obviously, that was trained by Clive Cox.
Yeah.
Appleby's never won it.
Yeah. And Appleby's going well at Newmarket, and I'd expect him to do better. I think there'll be more winners for Godolphin between now and the end of the July Cup Festival. But whether it comes in this race, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Notable Speech is the fascinating one because he's being thrown into a division that's just mediocre. But the thing that I like about Whistlejacket, Peter, is first of all, he's by no name ever, who's going for his 3rd win in the race in 7 years. And secondly, they've got to give him the weight allowance. And that £6 might just be all the difference here.
Yeah, well, if he wins 6 furlong Group 1, then they really are shit. He's not. He might win it because he's kind of running in back. And that wasn't as bad a run as it reads, as you've been saying. But I don't think he's a sprinter. But look, these guys obviously know a lot more than I do, so they're persistent at sprinting. So you have to respect them coming with Ryan Moore riding him and Aidan O'Brien training him, and they're persevering over the sprint trips. And look, he could win it because it is a very weak division for what we're used to in the UK and Ireland. But I'd like to see Notable Speech win it. I don't know. I was thinking he might have peaked, and he probably has, but that's over a mile. I think it's an interesting shout to drop him to 6 furlongs. I don't know what to expect. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he blows them away, and it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't win. So I don't know what to expect. So yeah, I because I think he has the potential to blow these away. But I wouldn't be confident. But I would be putting them up. And I fancied Believing last time at Ascot. Now I know she might have been drawn the right side, but she was never ever going, and that was the first run since she was in foal. Now normally horses improve, but obviously, as we know, some horses don't improve and they mightn't perform up to their normal standards. I don't know what's going on there with her, but look, I always say you forgive a horse one bad run, so she could be the value of the race if she comes back to her old self. So I'll say Notable Speech, I hope wins, because he could be the new sprinter in the block, and I'd be putting something in Believing as well, just to forgive a bad run last time.
Yeah, you would like to see something new come along and just blow the opposition.
Yeah, he's got the potential to be classy.
Yeah, I suspect that they're looking at what Lazat did, dropping from 7 to 6, and he's just a completely different league to the rest of the sprinters. So maybe they think that Notable Speech can do the same thing, but I don't know.
She's got too much speed, boys. Flora Bermuda's got too much speed. She beat the world-class sprinter and now stallion, Storm Boy, by 6 lengths last time. So,
Christ, my goodness. Okay, on that bombshell.
She must be an absolute rocket.
On that bombshell, the thunder from down under, my goodness. George, any other business? What have you got for us?
Yes, any other business? It's a quick 2. They're not mental prices, but I got the 3:45 at York, the John Smith Silver Cup over a Mile 6. Favourites Al Kareem, but I'm going to go with Table Talk. He was a course and distance winner when winning the Melrose last year. The second hasn't run since, but Master Builder was third, who's now rated £9 higher. He almost certainly found the ground too soft on Champions Day next time, and has had 3 runs over a Mile 4 this season, which should be short of his best. Finished second in 2 Group 3 events before a creditable 6th in the Hardwick behind Rebels Romance, Al Riffa, Ghostwriter, Palladium and Sunway. Given he's only rated £1 below Al Kareem, and that rating's based on what he's been doing over 1 Mile 4 the last few starts. Step back up to a Mile 6 can surely see him improve past old Al Kareem, especially his junior. The other one is the ITV Handicap at Ascot, a heritage handicap over 5 furlongs. Red Orange is also I'm a huge fan of. He was a winner on Good to Farm over 6 furlongs as a 2-year-old, but he's thrived for the drop back to 5 furlongs this season with a 3rd and a win, recording RPRs of 92 and 98 before he went to Royal Ascot. In his win at Chester, he defeated subsequent winner and Epsom Dash 3rd Ruby's Prophet, as well as the Epsom Dash 4th Blinky with complete disdain. He's a very fast starter, which stand him in good stead in a race like this. And his 3rd in the Palace of Holyrood over course and distance, where he actually finished 2 lengths further in front of Ruby's Prophet than he did the time before, off the same terms as the previous time. That race can be marked up. He was drawn 4. He was the only horse drawn lower than 12 to finish in the first 8. Meaning a £4 rise could be more than fair. I'd be all over Red Orange there. He had an entry in a listed race this weekend as well. It shows the regard he's held in, so he'd be up there with my selections for this week.
Andy Newton, any other business?
Yeah, Table Talk was the one I came down on if we were touching on that race. A couple of stats against that El Kareem age and actually winning last time out was a bit of a neg in that race in that Silver Cup as well. But the More Thunder and Italy are going to be the sort of 2 big ones of the weekend that a lot of people are going to be on doubled up. But Whistlejacket each way and maybe Fox Legacy. Well, Whistlejacket might not even be an each way price by the time we come to the race. But those sort of 4 in your old scumbag, Lucky 15, More Thunder Italy, Whistlejacket, Fox Legacy. There you go.
I quite like that. Peter Michael, anything else on your list?
Yeah, there will be a lot on my list this weekend. I just have to do the work I haven't done for the other races yet. I had a bit of issue with the racing posts, as I was saying to you boys earlier. But yeah, there's a good few I have to study. Just haven't had the time to. As you said, anybody that wants to join into my tipping group, direct message me in X or on Facebook. You can find me, Peter Michael Racing, on Facebook, and at the on X at the handle there, P Michael Racing. If you're looking for a way to make your betting pay, it's the best. It works out just over £1 a day, and you could nearly get a second income from it. So I'd highly recommend it. We've had a few members join up lately, and we had a forecast today. We had a 28-1 winner. We've had a 20-1 winner a few weeks ago. 25-1 winner. Winners are flying in left, right, and centre. And
the service you're doing, where you're focused on horses that you think are absolute certainties, that started off with a winner.
Yeah, that started off. We've only had one bet. That started off. It was a 3-runner race, Torbay. I put him up at 10-11. Ended up being drifted out, but I thought he'd take a lot of beating, and he won well enough. But I do two services. One is for your daily tips, but that includes all the tips, and that's been just on fire, an absolute fire. And if anyone, you're not going to make your bet and pay if you can't study it. And even when you study it, it's hard. So I do the work for you for basically works out just over £1 a day, and you get back a lot more than that by the end of the month, most months anyway. So it's a total no-brainer.
I think that's an important distinction to make. You're not paying someone to pull magic tricks and look into their crystal ball and I know what all the winners are. You're paying someone like Peter Michael, someone with years of experience in the industry, to do the work for you. Because you're at work, you're too busy. You're paying someone who's experienced, someone who's got a proven track record to do the work for you. It's not like this.
Exactly, George.
Some people go, I make things happen, I predict these things. Fucking and get you winners. No,
and absolutely, and thanks for that. And with me, what you see is what you get. You have some people out there that are bullshitters. They have 50 times more subscribers than I have, but you can just hear them talk. One of them, I won't name names, he was talking about a race and he was showing the race in the background and he called her a hurdle offence. Do you know what I mean? And this is a guy who has thousands of subscribers, and people are paying him. With me, what you see is what you get. You get hard work and you get winners left, right and centre. So if you want to make money, come on over.
At Peter Michael Racing on X, following the man. He keeps banging the winners. Okay, let's get the best bets for the weekend. What is the nap, George Gorman?
But mine are Never So Brave and Red Orange, both at Ascot.
Which one is the nap?
If someone's Never So Brave as a nap, they can have it. I'm happy for either to be my nap. So I'll go Red Orange because I feel like someone else is going to pick Never So Brave.
Okay.
But he's my next back.
Which one are you more confident in?
I think they both win.
That's what we like to hear, George. Andy Newton, who is going to win this weekend? Who is your nap?
See, only just a better price. Like I said, I spoke about More Thunder in Italy, Whistlejacket as well, but look, Fox Legacy, for the Baldings, for the Powers. They've won it twice before. It's going to be 3, I think. Well, it's a good each way shot anyway. Fox Legacy.
The system, Andy. The system. X-Stout, new trainer. It keeps producing winners. Got to go with that system. Peter Michael, the nap.
More Thunder, and the next best is More Thunder to beat her Cajun Thunder.
He's giving you the first and second. He's not just giving you the winner. He's giving you the first and the second in the Bunbury Cup. I'm going to play Never So Brave, More Thunder, Fox Legacy, Whistlejacket in a lucky 15. And I will probably do Never So Brave, JM Jungle, More Thunder, Fox Legacy, Bedouin Prince, and Whistlejacket / Italy in either a Super Heinz or a lucky 63. Because if it comes off, then straight to Dubai.
Yeah, it's all right. We can go back there now, and it's all calmed down a bit over there, isn't it? So we're all right.
I'm struggling in the Irish heat. So how I'm going to cope in the Dubai heat is another matter entirely. That's it. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Your support of the show really does mean an awful lot to us. We've had lots of DMs and emails in recent weeks from people saying incredibly kind things. It means a lot to us. Thank you so much for the interaction, for the feedback. This show is free, so the only thing we're asking you to do is hit the like button on YouTube or make sure you've hit the subscribe button on your podcast app. Better yet, share with as many people as possible. Get in your WhatsApp groups. Get on your DMs. Get on the email lists. Throw it in your Slack, wherever. Meeting people in the pub. If you still do that in this day and age, it's a kind of a weird world these days. But if you're on track, spread the word about the show. It's a massive help to us. If you like the dynamic and the info from George, Andy, and Peter, that's all we're asking of you to do. Likes, shares, spread the word. It's a huge help to us with the algorithm. We're back on Monday to break it all down. Hopefully, we'll be talking about all the winners we had. And if not, well, we'll try and explain why not. From George Gorman, Andy Newton, Peter Michael, and me, Emmet Kennedy, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
In horse racing, every furlong matters and every episode counts. So stay ahead of the field by hitting subscribe to the Final Furlong podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. It's free and it gets you one step closer to the winner's enclosure. Subscribe to the Final Furlong podcast and join us on the gravy train.